Hi guys, it's Miss Bryant and we are going to go over the standard today, RI 3.7, which will be I will be able to use information learned from illustrations and words to prove that I understand the text. Now, yesterday Miss Donaldson focused on the illustration. Today we are going to be focusing just on the words. We will not be focusing on the illustrations today because that's what Miss Donaldson focused on yesterday. And if we take a look at our learning targets over here for level 3, it says, I can use information gained from the words to prove that I understand the text. So we're really going to be just focusing on what does the text say. So just as a review from what Miss Donaldson wrote, she focused on the text features, what the text features showed in the text, The Amazing Canal. And what we learned from that is that the title told us that the routes between New York and San Francisco. Pre-canal route, the blue line, goes around the South America about 13,000 miles. The canal route, which is the red line, uses the Panama Canal, which is 5,200 miles. And the canal route is shorter than the pre-canal route. So, as a review, we're going to be looking today to understand and use information from the illustrations and the images with the words of a text to demonstrate the understanding of a text. Okay, so when we're reading an informational text, they present information in their words. They also present information in their pictures, as we learned yesterday. So now we're going to be adding on to what this text says right here. So let's go ahead and read. Let me get my pen. The Amazing Canal. And we know that word amazing means that it's pretty spectacular, that it's unlike anything that you've probably ever have witnessed. The canal is one of the greatest inventions in the world has ever known. And so that kind of goes with our title right there. It's the greatest invention. A canal is a passage that uses water. I believe that's really important that we're going to put that down in our chart later, so I'm going to underline that. It creates a shortcut allowing boats to travel through a land area. I'm going to underline that as well because yesterday when Miss Donaldson was highlighting the text features, that's something that we looked at. Without a canal, boats would have to travel around a huge areas of land, which we also learned from those images yesterday. Some of the oldest canals were built in Egypt nearly 4,000 years ago. The Panama Canal is one of the most famous modern canals. And that word modern kind of means like new. It was completed in 1914. The canal stretches 51 miles across the Isthmus of Panama. It connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Before the canal was built, ships had to go around the tip of South America. I see that in the image, so I believe that's going to be very important. The canal made the trip so much shorter, faster, and safer. So what I was doing right there is I was hiding important key details, and when we have you do your first read, that is something that we have you do. What is the important text details that you noticed? Did you guys see that I didn't underline the Panama Canal as one of the most famous modern canals? I didn't underline that because I didn't feel like it was important to what the author was saying with everything given to me using the images and the title and the text feature. But again, we're just focusing on those words. So we're going to go and write down what the text said into our fancy chart. And what you can do at home is make this chart on a separate sheet of paper and send it to your teacher to show that you're actually taking notes and following along. So, text box. So we're going to go ahead and write our first underlined word that we wrote in the text, and we're going to paraphrase and write in our own words. The canal is one of the greatest inventions of the world has ever known. I'm not actually going to write that because it doesn't really help me with what we learned previously. A canal is a passage that uses water. So what the text says, a canal is a passage. And what's another word that we can use for passage? I'm not thinking of anything right now. I'm just going to put passage that uses water. You put a passage or a trail that uses water. Okay, let's go ahead and see what our second underlined sentence was. It creates a shortcut allowing boats to travel through a land area, and that is so important because it kind of gives us an idea of what that canal is. So it creates a shortcut, especially for boats. Okay. So we have a canal as a passage or a trail that uses water. It creates a shortcut, especially for those boats. Okay. It allows you to travel through the land so you don't have to go around large areas. Okay. And we also has, before it had to go around the tip of South America. So beforehand, so we're going to write, beforehand, ships had to travel around the tip of South America. Okay, and we're just going to use these 3 points from our text, and I chose these 3 points because that's what they were, key details within our text that complemented our text features, and so we're going to put them right next to our text feature column. And then tomorrow with Miss Wong, you're going to make that connection, okay? So what does this all mean? So again, let's take a look at our standard. I can use information gained from the words to prove I understand the text. I understand that a canal is a passage that uses water, creates a shortcut, and it was really helpful for people who had to travel because then they didn't have to travel the tip of South America. All right, thanks guys. See you again tomorrow.